Hey Dinos, so let's take a moment to be grounded and reflect. With June and July being whatever it was, crazy, hectic, emotional, each week feeling like it lasted for 3, it's sometimes easy to forget just how far you've come. So I figured with that, let's reflect on some good things here that I've accomplished that I'm pretty proud of, if I can't lie. As some of you may or may not remember, or maybe you weren't even here at that point in time, back in 2021, 2020, I racked myself into a lot, and I say a lot, of debt. Like, girl, I felt I was drowning. The kind of drowning you almost can't even throw a life buoy to. My taxes alone, sitting at $9 grand. Luckily for me, the place I was working at that point in time took deductions out of my pay. So I didn't have to worry about saving for new taxes while paying off old taxes. And that helped me out tremendously. And by the time I filed again in 2025, I had brought them down to about $3 grand. Now with the new job, at that point in time, I was not having deductions. So that brought it back up to $5 grand. So taxes, sitting at about 11 grand total. And I paid off the last of that February this year, just in time to file and owe more. How it be, but that's still a big relief. Now let's talk about credit card debt, because that was the scary one. That's the one that really made me feel like I was drowning. I had 3 credit cards, and they weren't just maxed out, they were over limit. My first credit card, limit of $5,000, maxed out at $5,300. Second credit card, limit of $2,500, maxed out at $2,800. Third credit card, limit of $2,000, maxed out at $2,300. It was not a good time. That's $10,400 of credit card debt. And I was paying them. I was making the minimum payments and doing what I could. But the $5,000 credit card, the minimum payment of $150 a month, $130 of it was pretty much interest. I don't know the exact numbers. It's been a while since I looked at that. But yeah, most of what I was paying was going to interest, so I wasn't even paying down the principal balance. It was pretty brutal, I can't lie. At one point in time, I even debated on declaring bankruptcy. But luckily for me, my current partner at the time talked me into a solve your debt program. So once he talked some sense into me and calmed my spiraling ass down, I got on the credit consolidation program through Solve Your Debt Canada, and 2 of my credit cards went no interest. One of them still had a reduction in interest, so there was still some interest payment I was doing, but for the majority, all my money that I was paying towards my credit cards was now fully going towards the principal balance. Getting approved, though, was a little bit of a process. Like I said, my ass was spiraling a little bit. And realistically, it was fine, all good, but like, they wanted me to cut my credit cards and send them a picture, and I'm like, this feels fishy, I don't know. Honestly, it was probably just me like panicking about losing access to the very minimalistic amount of credit that I still had access to, even though all my cards were maxed out and over limit, and I realistically didn't even have any access to any. But I'm sure some people know how it is. And if I'm being honest, both of my exes offered to pay off a big chunk of it, to which I told them the same thing each time. If you want to help out in other areas or other aspects of life, I would appreciate that very much, but like, let me handle this. This is my problem, this is my issue. I can't let my knight in shining armor come in and save me from this, because if they fix all my mistakes, I'm never gonna learn from them. But here we are, 5 years later, and I'm credit card debt free. I made my last payment last year in July, haven't had any credit cards for a whole ass year, or any credit card debt for a whole ass year, and it's a beautiful thing. And I might have, if I'm being honest, celebrated a little bit, and kind of forgot what a budget was. And it could have possibly put a little bit of strain on my most recent relationship, but we live and we learn, and we're getting the budget locked in again. Now, on top of all of that, my student loan was in repayment assistance for the first couple years after I graduated. And of course, because things happen in 3, that ended at the same time I was dealing with all these other financial issues. Luckily for me, I was still able to do a reduced rate, because how it goes is every 6 months you have to reapply, and they look at your like financial statements and your banking statement. That's the word, banking statements. They look at your banking statements and they're like, okay, based on all this information that we have here, we think you'll either qualify for no payments, reduced payments, or full payments. and luckily I got reduced payments. So back when I graduated in 2017, my student loan was sitting at about $36,000 to $38,000. When I checked it a couple months ago, I was down to $25,000. So again, that's another $11,000 to $13,000 that I've paid off in the past 5 years. So if we add it all up since 2020, I've climbed my way out of $32,400 to $34,400 of credit card debt, student loans, and tax debt. That's an insane number. That is most certainly something to feel pride and accomplished on. But yeah, so with everything going on, I felt it's nice to not only remind you guys, but also remind myself that I've been growing, I've been healing, I've been working on myself. I've been putting the hard work in over the years, and I'm proud of what I've been accomplishing.